Okay, so the first fast that we're going to talk about is intermittent fasting. So like I said, many of you are going to be beginners in this group, and we're so happy that you're willing to, dive into the world of fasting, because it's such an amazing gift that our bodies will heal just by holding back from eating. Believe it or not, I mean, it's free. Like I always say, it's free. It's a great tool to have in your toolbox. Intermittent fasting is an awesome practice. It can be done every single day. So what intermittent fasting is when you stop eating dinner at night, you don't eat again, so there's no snacking in the evening. So if you finish dinner at 6, that's gonna be your last meal. And you're gonna try to go, I mean, we all go 12 hours. When you go to sleep, you don't eat in your sleep, and your body takes care of yourself. So we all intermittent fast to some extent, every single day, always. So it's just extending that a little bit longer, I'm sorry. You just have to think about it like that. You're just gonna extend that fast a couple more hours. That's all. So if you eat dinner at 6 and you're done and you say, okay, no more food, 6 o'clock the next morning, you're already at 12 hours. So we would like to see you go 14 or 15 hours. So it's just a few more hours. So if you go from 6 in the morning till 9, you've got the 15 hours in. So that's all you have to do for the first step is intermittent fasting. Just stop eating at night and then just don't eat again until about 9 o'clock the next morning, or depending on what time your last meal was. If it's 8 o'clock, then it'll be 10 o'clock the next morning, and you could do those numbers. But the best results come between 15 and 16 hours. So we just ask you to extend it just a little longer. And once you get used to that, that's the first start to building your fasting muscle. That is the beginning steps, is just to not eat, and if you generally don't eat breakfast in the morning, that's great. So you're already intermittent fasting longer. Just push it about 2 more hours. Try to get 2 more hours longer into your intermittent fast. And that will help with weight loss. It lowers insulin levels. So anybody who's heard me talk before as a patient knows I always talk about insulin levels because today our insulin levels are so high in our body, and we actually measure them in our blood work to know where your insulin levels are at, because if your body's pulsing with insulin all the time, it's a food storage hormone, an energy storage hormone. It's just gonna keep giving your body the message, store food, store food. So we wanna break that, and that's insulin resistance. You get insulin resistant, which is the precursor to type 2 diabetes once it gets too far. So if you don't change anything and your insulin levels are high, so I encourage everybody also, if you get your blood test done at your medical doctor every year, ask them to check your insulin levels. They never do, and people are always shocked when they do ask them. They do test it, and the doctor is always happy that they asked to have their insulin levels checked. So I encourage you to add that into your yearly physical and get your insulin levels checked. Another thing is to measure your blood sugar. To make sure those numbers are also in line. But with the intermittent fasting, the daily practice of intermittent fasting, you will lower insulin levels, which will help you lose weight. You're going to raise human growth hormone, which is something that depletes in our bodies over time at a certain age, usually around 35 or so. So that's when kind of the world, our stress levels, toxins, all the things we have in our body overwhelms our body, because the human growth hormone drops, and then the body can't adapt as easily anymore. And that's why sickness usually sets in at age 40. That's how old I was when I was diagnosed with MS. Many people have this issue, age 35, 36, 40, 40s to 50s, 55. That's when issues start. Hormones get out of balance. Lots of things go on. Thyroid not working. There's just so many things that go on at that age, and it's because human growth hormone is dropping. So we want you to be able to raise human growth hormone naturally. It will decrease inflammation. So inflammation is responsible for 7 out of 10 of the leading causes of death in the United States. So you can lower the inflammation in your body. You've heard of inflammation it's really the root cause of so many illnesses, high blood pressure and heart disease and on and on. I mean, it's the root cause of almost everything is the inflammation that is happening in our bodies in this country. So this will naturally lower your inflammation levels. So if you suffer from any kind of chronic illness, autoimmunity, or just weight loss resistance, you've been unable to lose weight, part of that is due to inflammation. So the intermittent fasting will get that inflammation levels down. Another amazing thing, and we'll talk about this probably in an entire video, because one of the fasts I'm going to talk about is called an autophagy fast. So autophagy is something that happens in the body. The body is so smart. I can't tell you enough about how amazing and miraculous our bodies are and how it knows exactly what to do. So when the body is not bogged down in digesting food every 2 hours and doing that, and I already explained that, that's what takes up most of our energy is the digestion of food, and then detoxification is the other one. But when your body's not bogged down with all its energy going towards digestion of food, it enters into autophagy, and it actually it removes dead cells or cells that are not functioning quite as well anymore, cells that are irregular or not right in our bodies. Your body will start to consume this dead cell debris and dead cells and things like that. So it's totally an anti-aging, number one, and it's also irregular cells don't adapt. So cells that don't adapt become sickness or become cancer because they're not adapting, and they just become waste in our body. So when you enter into autophagy, and like I said, I'll explain all that, but you can even Google it and look it up, because a Nobel Prize was won on discovering this about two or 3 years ago. The body will consume those dead cell parts. So that's where an autoimmunity, or for me, that's where it came in so strong. So when I did the autophagy fast, I went through so much healing because I had so much debris in my body that had to be removed, and the body will remove it if you give it the opportunity to do that. It's an interference in the body, and it will remove it if given the opportunity, which comes with fasting. So that's another thing. It's totally amazing. But you can just start with intermittent fasting. I know you can do it. You do it every single day. It's just a matter of extending it just a few more hours, and that's going to be our first exercise in flexing our fasting muscle. Okay, so put any questions you have in the comments below. Please like and share our videos. We're trying to get this information out to as many people as possible. We're trying to help people and just make them realize how awesome fasting can be and how wonderful of a healing modality that it is. So please like and share our videos, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video where we'll talk about the next fast.